Have you ever thought about how a picture of your cat zooms across the world to your grandma? You tap send and it's there in a single second. Most people think that photo flies high through the air like magic. This global connection actually began in 1858. This image shows Queen Victoria. She sent the very first fast message across the Atlantic Ocean, cutting a trip that used to take 10 days by ship down to just a few minutes. They didn't use invisible airwaves. Instead, sailors on massive wooden ships dragged thousands of miles of heavy copper wire right along the muddy bottom of the sea. Today, we've traded bad old copper for glass, but the underwater highways are still there. Over 99% of all international data, video calls, and internet traffic travels through the ocean. Despite the name, the cloud doesn't live in the sky. It rests on the dark, muddy seabed, thousands of miles from the sun. This photo shows what those ocean highways actually look like inside. The whole cable is usually no thicker than a garden hose. It's wrapped in tough plastic and steel wires to protect it from the crushing weight of the water. Inside those tough layers are special glass strands as thin as a human hair. Instead of electricity, computers use lasers like tiny rapid-fire flashlights to shoot messages through the glass. Every flash of light is a piece of data that machines can read. Because these messages are made of light, they move so fast they can circle the entire Earth 7 times in a single second. But light gets dim over long distances. Every 50 miles or so, the cable passes through a signal booster called a repeater. It catches the fading light and blasts it forward again, so the message doesn't get lost in the dark. Millions of these tiny flashes stream across the ocean floor every moment, powering everything from your homework research to the trillions of dollars that move through the global economy. Engineers have laid more than 1.5 million kilometers of this cable across the seabed. That is enough to wrap around the Earth 37 times. This photo shows a traffic jam in the Red Sea. Just like massive ships have to squeeze through narrow ocean corridors, our internet cables are often forced to bunch together in the exact same tight spots, known as choke points. Imagine all the roads out of your city squeezing onto one single tiny bridge. If a car breaks down and blocks that bridge, traffic stops for hundreds of miles. Under the sea, if a few cables get cut in a choke point, internet speeds can drop for whole continents. This happens in incredibly busy areas like the Luzon Strait near Taiwan or the English Channel. Dozens of cables sit right next to each other in shallow water, sharing the exact same risk. Our global connection depends on these few crowded pathways. Because they are so packed together, a single accident can cause giant problems. This image captures a massive underwater volcano erupting. When the Earth shakes or mud slides down the ocean mountains, the force easily snaps those cables in half. When an earthquake struck near Taiwan in 2006, the shifting ocean floor broke multiple cables at once. It slowed internet access across all of Asia for weeks, while people were trying to recover. But the most common accident comes from above. A fishing boat or cargo ship drops its heavy iron anchor. The wind pushes the ship, and the anchor drags along the seabed until it snags a cable and rips it apart. These ships look peaceful on the horizon, but if their anchors cut the wrong lines, they can interrupt the $10 trillion in financial transactions that flash through the ocean every single day. We built a machine large enough to span the globe, yet delicate enough to be broken by a single falling anchor. Keeping it running is a constant struggle. This is a specialized cable repair ship. There are only about 25 of these vessels for the entire planet. They stay on standby, ready to rush out the minute an alarm goes off. Finding the damage is incredibly hard. The crew has to sail out into rough storms and drop tools down into pitch-black water, sometimes 5 kilometers deep, just to locate one snapped wire in the mud. They send remote-controlled robots down to the seafloor. The robot digs through the silt, grabs the broken pieces of the cable with a mechanical claw, and slowly pulls them to the surface so engineers can splice the glass hairs back together. The most advanced computers on Earth depend on the physical labor of sailors and robot drivers fighting the ocean waves. To keep us online, engineers are building new, diverse routes. That way, if a choke point is blocked, your data instantly takes a detour across a different ocean. They are also installing underwater sensors that act like alarm systems, warning boat captains if they are sailing dangerously close to the buried glass. We do have some internet satellites in space to act as a backup plan, but right now, those satellites can only handle a tiny fraction of our data. They aren't yet strong enough to replace the speed and capacity of the undersea highways. The internet feels like a spell we cast through the air, but it's really built by people laying tubes of light across the bottom of the sea. By understanding how this hidden world works, we can better protect the lines that keep us connected.